Hello and welcome to the Dynamic Entrepreneurs. I'm your hostess, Jenny Edwards, and today I have the amazing and super talented Adam Lewis Walker. What's up, Adam?
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so glad that you're here. And if you guys haven't tuned in to either of Adam's podcasts, he will be telling us more about that. But I wanted to introduce him because he is a leadership speaker, TEDx, two-time best-selling author and coach. He hosts the top-ranked podcast, Awaken Your Alpha, interviewing world's elite minds in over 370 episodes since early 2014. That's awesome. Adam helps aspiring TEDx speakers to achieve their own talk through his Talk Accelerator program. From this work, he shares how to get a TEDx talk through the complimentary Talk Accelerator podcast. And he's also a former teacher and international pole vaulter. Maybe he'll tell us more about that. And I know he has some incredible insights about monetizing your message. Today, I want to give a warm, ecstatic high five virtually to Adam.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again. Thanks to the bio, the intro. That's cool. I'm here to give as much value as I can in 25, 30 minutes, and let's lead the show. We're monetizing your message. That's cool. And I know some people who've got a strong message, have that conflict, and the monetizing thing is always a challenge because you just think you've got a strong message, just lead with that, which I do believe but also at some stage, if you want to really, take your message to the next level and influence and impact in this planet, then, you've got to be a professional at that. Otherwise you're always going to be doing it on the side, which, there's a place for that. So I think what you're doing here is great in terms of, a subject that's, I think all of us, at least who's listening, are very interested in this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and since you have a really specialized strategy for people, I especially wanted to get your insights because obviously there's a lot of people out there that want to do a TEDx talk, and the TEDx stages around the world have really gotten a lot of awareness recently, and a lot more people obviously tuning into podcasts and really educating themselves, and obviously, in that new
Yeah.
media arena too.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, the first thing, just kind of like an overview, I don't sort of teach, mentor, coach, advise on anything I haven't done myself. And so kind of in the entrepreneurial sense, my kind of the journey, the things that have moved the needle for me is having a podcast, launching a podcast, being on other people's podcasts, the TEDx talk, and my book, Awaken Your Alpha. So these are the kind of things that are really, in terms of, amplifying your message and then ultimately monetizing it. These are things that move the needle from me. So that's kind of in the realm that I help people with. And the Awaken Your Alpha stuff is all about playing a bigger game, to say amplifying your mission, your message. So that's how they kind of go together. So yeah, people have always asked me, how do you do a podcast? How do you do a TEDx? I didn't do a TEDx with the thought to, I'm going to do a TEDx so I can teach people about how I did that and how to get a TEDx. I had a message, a clear message that I really wanted to share, an idea that I believe is worth sharing. And as I say, very organically, people always ask me the questions of how do you do a podcast? How do you do a TEDx? And I noticed in myself when I was, giving advice and helping and mentoring people, I lit up just a little bit more when it came to talking about TEDx. I get excited about doing TEDx, about talking about TEDx, and I don't get bored of it, which I think is important. It's a very individual thing. I love hearing people's ideas, and every TEDx, which we're going to talk about, event is different. So it's not kind of like, you can't just have this automated, this is how you do it. It's always evolving. I like things that you have to keep raising your bar on and keep growing. And the whole TEDx and TED platform is evolving the whole time, and they always tweak and change things. And I'm an independent. I'm in no way affiliated with TED. I think it's important to say, and I in no way guarantee you. I think if anyone ever guarantees you a TEDx or something like that, it's that devalues the whole thing, and you should be wary, because it's all about ideas worth sharing. The TEDx organizers are volunteers. So this is just how can you increase your chances of getting on the TEDx stage? And there is obviously things to do, specific things to do that will enhance that. And then there's very bespoke things to every individual person and TEDx event. So I think that's an important thing. And I really think if you coming from a place, if you want to share your message first and have an impact, and then obviously a TEDx will increase your influence, and then ultimately it can, not always, it can increase your income depending on how you use it, because it's just a tool. For me, I'm very happy when I see someone TEDx speaker on their name. I'm pretty much instantly very likely to have them on my show, or at least I have no worries about their ability to speak or about their ability to put across an idea, because I know they've gone that extra mile. And if we're talking about business and monetizing it, we've got two people, they both got a great message, they both got a great business, they both can help me in this way, and then one of them's done a TEDx. For me personally, it just means that that person is a little bit more committed in terms of they really are living their message, because what you put on the TEDx stage is not the sort of thing that's flavor of the month for a short-term thing. You've actually done the
Trendy.
work,
Yeah.
and you're at least going through that process. You believe you're going to be down that avenue or that path for a good couple of years, because it's TEDx.
It's more focused.
And they follow you. They're going to be around for a long time. So it's all about legacy when it comes to book publishing, podcasting, and giving these impactful talks.
Awesome. So what as far as your own journey, your own path that you were on in your life, I know that, you mentioned pole vaulting in your bio. What was it? Were you doing something that was like different, that something caused you to shift into this type of work, or what was really calling you to create this and make a bigger impact?
Yeah, so I was a teacher for a decade back in England. And at the same time, in terms of the lifestyle, I'm all about lifestyle. And I never judge someone saying like of their level of success and vice versa, because, it's a very individual thing in terms of what works for you. So I was a teacher. Their summers are largely off, which is when my athletics, track and field season, pole vaulting is, at its height. So I used a lot of all my extra energy and effort was in trying to get to the Olympics. And I've always been a coach, strength conditioning coach, as well as mindset coach. And so I've always taught people, coached people. And in 2008, my best year as a pole vaulter, I would say getting close to my prime in terms of, I was about 28. And I got my lifetime best for the first time in a few years after minor injuries and stuff. And I got into my biggest competition, and it's English summertime. So obviously it was raining. And then, and so pole vault's not dangerous enough. So we need to do it into a swimming pool and, water on the ground. So I slipped in a puddle. Luckily I can laugh about it now because it's like 10 years removed, which is good for me. And I tore my ACL, ripped the meniscus cartilage off the bone, and dislocated my kneecap all in one go. And I'd never had any knee problems. And long story short, 2 years of prehab, operation, rehab, crutches, never pole vaulting again, and just lost. And it took about a year of me putting a brave face on it, and just depressed. It's some people say, oh, it's only your knee, but it was the whole identity around that. And also that was the worst thing that ever happened to me. So that's the only context that I'd had. And I would, a bit all that energy and potential, and I just didn't know what to do with myself for a while. And so through kind of working it out and fighting my way out of that low over the next couple of years, that's really awaken your alpha, where that will come from, and how that is different for everyone. And I don't believe there's any magic pill. It's just small daily habits and tactics that, again, experimenting what works for you, and just that getting 1% better every day. And that's important to not just get out of struggles, but also to then, when you get to what you would consider back on level, to keep them practices and habits to continue on to thrive. So that's, really where that will come from. My co-authored a book in 2013, The New Rules of Success, which is a step away from more the sort of physical coaching and and sports and my previous life, because that was more about the mindset. And again, so we're talking about message and monetizing it. So start off bite size, you know, I was a co-author in that. So I wrote one chapter that lead on to the idea for Awaken Your Alpha, a podcast. And then the book and the TEDx talk is all stepping stones in your message and monetizing it. And again, some efficient tools, I think, that really move the needle.
Wow. I'm sure that was a really intense learning for you. A
Yeah.
painful
Yeah.
learning and lesson.
Yeah. I didn't want to go through it, but I'm, you know, I can see, I wouldn't be talking to you today if it hadn't happened. I'm very confident. So, you know, time's a good healer as well. But, you know, I couldn't watch athletics for a good couple of years. I was just like, had enough, you know, because I was just not mentally prepared. I think that's why all this self-development and professional development is important to do, even more so when times are going well or times are, you know, just okay, because when it hits the fan, if you've not been doing the training and you're not, you know, preparing for adversity, it's hard, as I found out, to do it when it hits you, because I was not as mentally strong as I thought from basically what happened. So yeah, I had to learn the hard way, and adversity is coming for all of us, just in different formats. It's not a case of avoiding it. It's just a case of, you know, dealing with it as best you can when it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Mindset is huge. And that's one of the hardest things in life, is to be able to, you know, have the element of control or almost repositioning of your brain patterns, you know, to stay on track or stay focused. And I know maybe for many of you that are watching, you know, you can think of things in your own life or maybe something that you're currently going through. And sometimes it's the most difficult choice, just to consciously decide, are you going to let this keep you down, or are you going to let it propel you? And like you mentioned, 10 years, you know, it's been 10 years since that happened. And obviously hindsight is 2020, as they say. But I think for any, you know, more awakened entrepreneurs to see how you could really leverage your story to relate to your potential audience.
Yeah.
Too, and be able to share your ideas to really help them transform too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool. And I think I'm just doing, because I know this wants to be all about, you know, practical and monetizing your message, and see how it works, and give myself as a case study how it works and examples, not just in preparing yourself for different platforms, but in doing the TEDx talk up until that point, you know, Awaken Your Alpha, the podcast, you know, if someone said, what exactly is that? And it was more broad and general in how I explained it. Once I went through the TEDx, you know, it's that creativity thrives under constraints. And so you get a very, you know, bite-sized, soundable message that you can use on different platforms. And also through going through that process where I broke Awaken Your Alpha down into awareness, action, and ascension, the three key pieces of that then went on to be the three key sections of my book, Awaken Your Alpha, that was launched in 2018. So that's apart from the process behind the scenes. Secondly, if someone says to me, oh, what's your book about, or on a show like this, I encourage people to just, you know, type my name in, Adam Lewis Walker TEDx, and it will come up straight away, Awaken Your Alpha. And I say, you know, if you're interested, watch a couple of minutes of that. And if you like that or love that, or, you know, you like that, get the idea, then you'll love the book. You know, so you can use it to leverage the you know, the assets you have or your message, because there's something very powerful about not just are they understanding what your message is in a very short, concise, easily accessible thing. They're also, it's that credibility and position, as we talked about before, that, okay, someone's not just done a book, they've took the time to then go and put this into a TEDx talk. They must truly believe in this. I'm going to at least give this the time of day. And also it is that credibility of being on that stage, number one. And also just as powerful in terms of monetizing your message, if people don't like the talk, which is also good because it's not designed for everyone, because everyone's different, then don't get the book. So I like it's the maybes in life that kill us all. It's the yes or no. It's like, this is for me, brilliant, I'm gonna, you know, go and go and check out the book, and because this is the best of the best. And you can kind of guess what you're going to get. As I say, 4 or 5 years of the podcast, these are some of the best insights and specific actions to take. So yeah, that's another way you can use it. And if someone's just coaching, literally got some of my, coaching philosophies and processes. If someone wants to work with me, on just going after goals and improving their, their fulfillment and, achieving things and just having that support, go and watch that and you'll understand my philosophy. And if that aligns with kind of what you're all about and what you want to be about, brilliant. If not, that's also cool. Maybe I can refer you to someone else. So I think that's really important in leveraging what you're all about, but also being authentic and not trying to please everyone.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, that's good. It's, I heard somebody say it's like unapologetic. Just, don't be a people pleaser. Just share it. And yeah, if you get the yeses, you get the nos, and propel people to action.
Just you're giving people extra tools to be able to make a decision, which is what I try and do. I know we spoke before this as well, and I'm just trying to. You don't want people wondering, actually, is that the person to, we've talked about monetizing your manager, is that the person to work with me? Oh, I'm not sure. I don't understand. You want people to fully understand who you are, what you offer, and the value, and then they can make a clear decision. Whether it's yes or no is absolutely fine. But it's if they don't understand or they don't know what you're all about, I think it's price or investment in terms of monetizing is only an issue if value is a mystery. If they can see what you're all about and what you do and the results you get, and they understand it all up there, then if they believe in that and they think, actually, I want to get on board with this, then that's not going to be an issue. It's when they're like, actually, I don't quite get it. I don't understand the message, or I don't kind of get this. I can't see the value. The value may be there, but you maybe haven't monetized your messages efficiently. So these are just all tools to help you get across your message better.
Awesome. And I think that you also have another tool that you wanted to share with us today, right?
Yeah, I've got many tools.
A cool little.
Okay. So so in terms of, and this is again, we're talking about monetizing the message, so likely it's going to be relevant for this audience. But if you're not into, spreading your message, or looking to increase your, or if you just for some reason you want to monetize your message but you think TEDx talks, that's not for me, then this gift is probably not very good for you. But like we just talked about, but if you are into that, this would be spot on. So link to all this for the launch period. I've just launched a complimentary show, the Talk Accelerator podcast. So the shows are being released once a week in terms from a TEDx organizer, insight, TEDx speaker, and then some complimentary stuff around that. If you go in this launch period now and head over and sign up for that, then I send you the quick start guide, which actually has the right order, the right extra bits in there, and that's the best way to get you started. Even if you're just curious about how this TEDx platform can help you, or can work for you, that's something, a resource you can go and get. And again, talking about monetizing your message, I think it's important to give your best stuff, freely, because it's sometimes people get stuck in that, okay, I'm going to give like a little bit, and then people, holding the best stuff, which it doesn't really work like that. With something like a podcast, why do that if I'm doing the Talk Accelerator program or process that I've been doing for the last year? Well, because you increases visibility and awareness, because there's no point if this is the best thing since sliced bread and helping people really well if no one knows about it. And that's why it's about, the TEDx stage amplifies your message. A podcast can amplify your message.
Amplify. I love that word.
So there's going to be thousands and thousands and thousands of people who listen to the Talk Accelerator podcast, and I hope a huge amount of them go on to get their TEDx talk. But I'm not going to work with unlikely thousands, or probably like 95% of the people who listen to that. But there's that 1%, that 5% who want to actually have that direct work with me and go through a specific process. Actually, I want to take the actions and the accountability and have that bespoke one-to-one nature. And there's others who think, actually, this is such good information, I'm going to go do this myself. That's absolutely fine. Everyone's different. And the reality is a lot of times one of the key things in getting these things to, say, for example, on the TEDx stage is, life gets in the way. I've spoke to so many people who have come back like 6 months down the line and nothing's happened because, everyone's busy.
Life.
Yeah.
Distractions.
Something like the TEDx as well, and going after that, a lot of times it is secondary to maybe like your business or your job or what exactly is you're doing. It's a nice thing. It will enhance and help monetize your message more efficiently, but a lot of times it's not it's hard to put that priority ahead of a lot of things. So that's where, in terms of if you are going to spend, half an hour a week on this, then it's good to have, these are all the things you can do, but whether it's a coach or a mentor or someone saying, right, don't worry about all these things. It is quite overwhelming. Do this one simple action, which is very simple training. Do this one simple action this week, and then next week or the week after, then you do the next one. So it's there. So when you do have the time, you progress forward and you don't let this slide to another month or another year, because I think it's important to say for anyone who's going after their TEDx, when you think, right, I'm going to go do it by myself or with a coach or, through a program, whatever it is, realistic timelines, 6 months to a year would be realistic and even ambitious in some cases. So it's not a case of, I want to do it, let's go get it, and it happens, and then the video's out. And in terms of the video coming out afterwards, 2 months to 7.5 is the longest I've heard about till the video comes out afterwards, which is a key piece in how you can monetize your message. So, it's one of these things. A lot of people think, oh, I'll do that next year or when I'm ready. This is a long-term strategy as well. And I think that's why it has so much value, because you can't just flick a switch and do a TEDx. So that's one of the key things. It's best to start, at least looking into this and doing some research straight away. And I'm all about, instead of planning this perfect big action for next week or tomorrow, what's the one small thing you could do today, whether it's listen to a TEDx podcast or whether it's going doing a research or a little sort of search on the internet or something, if it's important to you. If it's not, then obviously don't. So that's some sort of the ways I can help. And as I said, the Awaken Your Alpha book as well, which all kind of ties into this sort of stuff. If you watch the TEDx talk and you like that sort of thing, please do, grab a copy and I can send you over a 7-day video series, Claim Your Clarity, which talks about specific actions in terms of, what is important to you, because I'm not someone who wants to bend you around to make you think, oh, because I think TEDx is important, then I want you to think it. I want you to think whatever it is you think, to have that awareness of what's going to move the needle for you and go and do that. So that's something I want to, help you to do.
Awesome. So definitely take that opportunity to listen to Adam's podcast, Talk Accelerator, and I'll put the link on the screen too.
And this isn't a requirement for getting the offer I said as well, but please leave me a one-line written review, because they're precious to podcasts, especially in the early days. I will know you by name, because there's, it's a new podcast. Yeah. So it's, no, I really appreciate that. And the reviews I've got on there, they are very positive at this point. So I'd love to add some to that as well. But
yeah, I know definitely get the Claim Your Clarity. That's a huge bonus. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
No worries. But I know we've only got a little bit of time left. So I want to, if you've got any questions around monetizing your message and be really specific, I don't want to, as I said, live in my I don't want to hold anything back. So tell me, ask me anything you want.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I guess the best opportunity to, of course, start building that visibility, which in turn changes into credibility, because now obviously what you've created with your tribe around TEDx is you have not only credibility as being a TEDx speaker, but now you interview other TEDx speakers. And so, maybe for the audience, taking a look at how you're building your tribe and accelerating, that's such a great word, amplifying your visibility into credibility as an expert.
Yeah.
And then, like Adam was saying, what could you look at to give to that audience to build that trust? Because people want to, work with you because they find value, you're building trust, you're adding value. So I appreciate all of your insights and what you've done for your journey, Adam. Yeah. That's been really incredible.
Yeah. And one of the reasons I did, completely transparent, why I added a podcast kind of on the back end to the Talk Accelerator process was because one of the key aspects of TEDx and events, they're obviously so individualistic, like I talked about, and the organizers, a way to connect with organizers is through interviewing them. And I want that, literally have an interview with every TEDx organizer in every state, and then in the UK and Australia and different things like that. And for my clients going one-to-one with these organizers and find out what are their specific what are their specific needs and wants and dislikes that are not on the websites that you wouldn't know unless you're sitting down and talking to someone like this. And so I started doing that for clients. And so then the podcast is kind of serving that purpose, and also, you know, getting my understanding and my knowledge around this whole process of TEDx talks is constantly evolving. And that's something that at first I was thinking, oh, am I just going to have, you know, the same interview on repeat? But I was luckily, when I started digging into it, it's such an individual thing, and everyone's got a different, you know, things that work really well for them, things that have gone wrong, horror stories of this, avoid that, do this. And there's conflicting opinions, which is what I like as well. And so the insider connections, and again, that's something some of my clients has said, that there's stuff in my process that and what I do that you won't get anywhere else. So it's like, how can you come at a problem or provide a solution in your own format with your message, so it isn't just generic and bland? And what unique? It's like TED ideas. What's your unique idea? What's your unique solution and approach to it? That, you know, it doesn't have to be better. It's just your own. So then people can understand it and think, actually, I like it like this. I'm going to, you know, come and hang out with you a bit more. Or actually, I understand it, but I prefer it this way. I'm going to go and, you know, search for it another way. So I think it's important to be just confident in what it is you offer, and what is, you know, your special sauce. Yeah, your message. And that's why, you know, doing the TEDx has been powerful for me, because it isn't one dimensional. It overlaps into, you know, when you're on an interview, it overlaps onto, you know, in your websites, in having that, you know, that strong message throughout the whole thing, which we haven't even said what my TEDx talk. I think we said the title, but I know we got short on time. So you have to just go watch it to find out what mine is.
Yeah. Or you can, I'll put the URL up on the screen.
Oh, thank you.
So you can watch it. Yeah. I haven't seen it yet either. I want to watch that. Check that out. Well, thanks, Adam, so much for all of your insights, and your dropping some knowledge on us and sharing some stories, because it's been really inspiring.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And I just want to touch on what you said there. Another powerful thing, you know, a lot of people have like TEDx speaker in their name, and we're talking about monetizing your message. Just that alone, like, you know, I love when people listen to it, and I'm, you know, the views are definitely going up, but, you know, the power's in just from like, you know, people won't have seen it. And it's a lot of times it's like that with a book, you know, there's a smaller percentage of people have actually read it. And I genuinely, this isn't one of these sort of short books that, you know, took about 3 months to write. This took me like 4.5 years, and it's a legacy piece like the TEDx. So I genuinely want people to read the book and listen to the TEDx. But, you know, if people don't know you, it's a reasonable investment of their time, more than like $20 for a book, but people's time is limited. So if they can watch a 1-minute video or 2-minute video and of you talking about your book, your business, or whatever it is in the right way, or your idea, it's a smaller barrier to then, okay, they like it, I'm going to then go a little bit further and look into this. Maybe I will purchase the book for $20, or I don't like it. I'm glad I saw that first and didn't, you know, so it just gets rid of, as we talked about, the lack of clarity around what it is your message and what it is you offer, and how it can benefit the person, the person who's looking into this. So yeah, I love what you're doing in terms of this. Monetizing your message is a great thing to focus on, because, you know, there's a lot of good messages out there. And when it comes to monetizing it, if you can be a professional in that, it's just only going to raise your game, because that's what I found. If you're dabbling in certain things, you're going up against professionals who are, you know, are doing this 24/7, doing interviews on a Monday morning, whereas you won't be able to do that. So I think it's important, if that's the way you want to go, to set your marker, and then a book, a podcast, listen to this information, a TEDx. If that fits to your kind of plan, these are just tools and stepping stones to get where you want to go.
Yeah. Awesome. Good ideas. Worth sharing.
Thank you. Please connect with me on all social media. I'd love to hear about how you've implemented it, and, you know, from any of these interviews that you're hearing on this summit, and what takeaways you're going to do, and yeah, just connect and let me know.
Sweet. Well, thank you all for watching The Dynamic Entrepreneurs, and thank you, Adam, for all of your awesomeness.
Cheers. It's been a pleasure. Hope to
have an incredible day.